Hello, and welcome to Everyday Penny, where savings changes everything. Today, we're going to talk about the holiday spending hangover, at least the money hangover. Because we usually, or if you're anything like me, spend more money during the holidays than you actually plan to do. So, I'm going to start off by giving you a little background on me and my worst holiday, as well as getting into debt situation. So, yes, I'm a financial advisor. Yes, I have two children who are now teenagers, but at the time they were 5 and 7. And I've been raising my children as a solo parent from the time they were 1 and 3. So I was looking to get a job. I got a job, and I moved up to an area where I found work. And I worked there for a while. The kids were all settled in schools, which was hard enough to get all of that together. But 8 months after I had started this job, they told me they were letting me go. And this just so happened to coincide with the holidays. So the boys and I had already gone and gotten our Christmas tree, but we hadn't decorated it yet. So that was a blessing. And the day I was told it was pouring rain, I'm leaving the office with my box, and if you've ever worked in the financial industry, as soon as they tell you, they walk you out. It's like you get 5 minutes to pack up your desk and you're out the door. So pouring rain, box in my hand, struggling to get in the car because it was downpouring. And when I got in the car, I had my very ugly cry. And because I am a single mom, I knew, my first thought was my kids. And I knew I had to get my stuff together. So I had no job. I couldn't afford to live where I was living without a job. So I knew I had to get out of there fast. Pull the kids out of school, put the kids in a different school in an area where I was thinking I could get a job, but that I knew I could find a place to live that I could afford, and then the holidays. Well, the saving grace of all of that controversy, at least for the holidays, was Toys R Us. Toys R Us had a program where they would the kids come in the store and they hand the kids a scanner, and the kids would go around and scan all the stuff that they wanted, and the parents would get a printout of this via their email. So I knew I had Christmas under control for my children, and I knew that when I got the U-Haul, I'd have to just shove that Christmas tree right in it. Then I would be okay. No idea about the money. Knew I could only use my credit cards because I had nothing else, and I had to make the move as quickly as possible. So that was my worst holiday spending hangover, but in the end, because it always ends on a good note, the boys have told me that was their best Christmas ever. And the only thing that I can think of as it being their best Christmas ever was that they got all the presents that they wanted, exactly what they wanted from Toys R Us. So I saved the day there. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we also have a dog. So I had the dog in tow too, driving a U-Haul with 2 little boys and a dog, after I hired people to help me pack up the U-Haul. And then I had people that would unpack me when I got to where I was. Anyway, our video is about holiday spending hangover debt. So how do we get out of it? Well, there are two ways to get out of any kind of debt that I know of. One is the snowball method, and the other is the avalanche method. So I'll start with the snowball method. The snowball method is where you list your debts, all your payments, all your bills, and you pay off your credit card debts or debts in general from the smallest debt to the highest. The reason why people recommend the snowball method is that psychologically you start feeling good that you've gotten certain debts just out of your way and taken care of. Yet, the downside of the snowball method is that you still have high interest and you may not be paying off the larger debt, which may have high interest, be on high interest credit cards. So that would be the avalanche method. So with the avalanche method, you're again listing your debts and you're paying off the highest interest debts first. So again, you have to know your budget and you pay minimum payments plus. This is with the snowball method too. You make sure you got that minimum payment covered and then you add extra until you get it paid off. Again, with the avalanche method, you're going to look at those interest rates and the highest card, the card that has the highest interest rate is the one that you're going to put the most money towards. You're still going to pay all the rest of them. You don't stop paying your other debts. And I would say don't just make minimum payments. Even if you can add $1 or $2 extra, it's better than ignoring them. You can't ignore them. They don't go away that way. The only way they go away is by paying attention, making the list, and taking care of it. So when you're paying off the higher interest cards first, now you're not accumulating that interest. So your bills per month become lower as you pay off the higher interest debt. Even if you pay, $1,000, $2,000 on a debt that you have $5,000, the interest amount is going to be smaller because it's on the amount that you still owe. So if you owed $5,000 and now you owe $2,000, your interest payment is lower and you're moving things along and in the right direction. So I usually use the avalanche method because I hate interest. I hate paying interest. Another way you could take care of holiday debt or ahead of time, so maybe for next year's planning, is you find a 0% interest credit card and you use that to make your purchases. At least then you have usually, maybe a year, 15, I think I've seen a 12-month, 18-month, and 24-month 0% interest credit cards on the market. And if you just pay off that debt and plan to pay off that debt on a 0% interest card, then you're paying off the debt. So you're paying what you spent. I love that. Gotta love it. Another way is to also plan ahead. And, I haven't seen these in a while, but, when I was kind of a kid, the bank accounts had your holiday savings account. So, your parents could go in there and put, $100 a month towards whatever the holiday spending is. And that's just pre-planning. And when you're doing your budget, you can do the same pre-planning. I will tell you that my Christmas story wasn't my only time that I got into trouble. I've been kind of in and out, and it comes and goes in waves based on what's going on in your life. You know, I had a hard time when I was getting divorced from their father. I had a hard time when I first started out and left university and was making it on my own. And hard times come, but good times come too. So it's just a flow of life, and you shouldn't let it beat you up. You know, you shouldn't let the thought of being in debt beat you up. You know, the debt that you put on a credit card, or, you know, the loan, maybe you bought a car, was something that you thought you needed in order to get somewhere else, in order for your life to proceed. So it's never a bad thing. And, you know, small snowball method works well as the avalanche method, and whichever seems to work for you, because this is your journey, your life, and in the end, it's only money.